Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is Laughin' Games here. I'm back with another StarCraft 2 1 versus 1 full-blown best of 5. That's right, we've got ourselves one that should be incredibly exciting to watch as it is top of the line players. In the upper left, it is Psystorm's MaxPax, the best Protoss player in the world, at least the best one in Europe. And then in the bottom right, it is Liquid Cure, a GSL winning Korean Terran player who maintains a very high level of play. However, I think this is one of the rare cases in which I'll say, I think Cure may not be the favorite, which is just ridiculous for me to say. But a guy like MaxPax being on the same region as Clem, he plays Clem probably like 3 or 4 times a week, it seems almost. And so that means he has got lots of practice against the best Terran in the world. So we're just gonna see how Cure can do against MaxPax. Honestly, it's gonna be a great match here today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Let's go for 10 likes on this video, a simple goal for a newer YouTube channel. Leave a comment down below. You can type absolute gibberish. Tell me who you think MaxPax's secret identity is, whether he's Alpha Star or the Prince of Denmark, something like that, as we have yet to see him at a LAN event. And then, that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And so let's see where this one's going to go. We have MaxPax opening up with a nice little cheeky probe as these two players do an early game dance. Meanwhile, Cure, though, is going for an SCV scout, a very mature decision by the Terran player, as MaxPax is known for going for cheeky builds. As the SCV comes on in, confirms the Nexus, and sees the pylon, which I think is the bigger part of that. Seeing the pylon at the natural base, I may just be all the information Cure needs, because there's no way Protoss would have really 2 pylons, I think. I don't know. Maybe Protoss could still technically sneak one by the Terran. For example, the MaxPax build, you build 1 pylon at home and then 1 pylon out on the map, which is the MaxPax build. That isn't actually that common these days. Adept, by the way, kills the Reaper, so that's quite nice. That's going to keep Cure further in the dark as MaxPax draws first blood. But yeah, all I'm saying is that maybe Cure should have sent that SCV in the whole way, but it is good he did scout. Anyway, so 2 Adepts are going to be crossing the map looking to bully the Terran. Cure has got himself a nice little bunker done up, though. The command center is already done at the natural, so there's no chance of the SCV dying there. And as long as he raises the depot, Cure should be fine, which is very good for him. As dealing with MaxPax's openings with strategies like just poking with early Adepts, he's so darn good at it. He will always keep the Terran on their toes. Cure has produced 1 Hellion. He's got another one on the way. At some point, MaxPax will want to pull these units away from here. Although we do see MaxPax having the Shade go up and hug the wall. This is part of the dynamic. It's ridiculous how much you could break down the level of play between these guys, but the long and short of it is that MaxPax had an advance notice that Cure was looking to poke him just by the fact that he kept throwing out those Adept Shades. One of those Adepts is on cooldown, but then the other one gets off cooldown. That's going to allow MaxPax a nice timely escape. He may lose one of these Adepts, and he actually does, so that's a bit unfortunate, as a bit of a skirmish continues to go down. Marines, men with gun, are shooting at the Adept and Stalkers. The Medivac rolls on in to start healing up those Marines. That's incredibly good for the Terran player not to have to worry about losing those units. Cure is immediately just going to send these units across the map. A Widowmine is walking across the map. Now 2 Marines are back at home to defend, but look at this. Cure actually turned those units around in the Medivac to unload them, and that is going to be a guaranteed kill on 2 Adepts and a Stalker. Now, Cure did lose a Hellion, which he maybe shouldn't have, but all in all, that is a great opening for the Terran player. The Protoss has got 4 Stalkers moving across the map. MaxPax has gone into Blink, lets the Hellion get by him, messed up a little bit by those line of sight blockers. He's now going to want to try and push the Terran a little bit, and there's definitely potential for that, as Kier is just building a siege tank now, whereas MaxPax has got 7 Stalkers, 4 of them in a Prism. Well, 4 of them and a Prism on one side of the map, 3 others on the other side trying to defend. MaxPax knows that Kier had that Medivac out on the map. He does pick off the Medivac. Looks like he will lose a Stalker. Has to warp in a couple more Stalkers back at home in order to defend against this. Kier does try and target down a few of the probes. Meanwhile, MaxPax is looking for damage with these Stalkers since Kier's siege tank was a little bit late. So that means that Kier is not going to be mining it as natural. Look at this. So many idle SCVs right now. The income advantage, it goes back and forth a little bit, but it definitely pivots in favor of MaxPax for way longer than it did for Kier. The tank does get a few shots off, but the Terran is definitely being bullied by MaxPax, and there's not an easy end in sight. As long as MaxPax can potentially find damage with 4 Stalkers and a Prism, Kier is going to be on the defensive. And that really doesn't end until the Terran has, like, say, 3 tanks out, or bio with Medivacs to support. The Protoss does seem to be wanting to get even more aggressive as all the Stalkers are coming forward. Gonna hit the bunker of Kier. Blinks on top of the tank, picks it off. That does allow the bunker to get a full hug by the SCVs, though, to keep that alive, which is so important. If the tank and the bunker died, that could have just been the death of Kier. More SCVs are hugging this bunker. They definitely need to, actually, as if that bunker perishes, this snowball could just get worse, and MaxPax continues to warp in more Stalkers. He wants to end this game, potentially, and he is targeting down the bunker. Kier brings in the rest of his Marines, doesn't toss down an auto turret. That bunker was just on the verge of dying, but there was maybe just like 1 SCV too many for MaxPax to be able to target down, so that is absolutely massive for the Terran staying alive. Kier has been so close to dying for the past minute. He's got a nice little SimCity wall in his main base. However, on this map, Romanticide, there is a lot of space for the Stalkers to play around, and Kier needs to be so careful because MaxPax may just blink on in here. Auto turret gets tossed down to help try and zone this out, but that turret dies so darn quick. The tank is getting shots off. Another auto turret gets put down. Kier is just playing for time to try and get out more tanks, more bio. He's supply blocked, though, which is very painful. Sends out an SCV to say, hey, those Stalkers are still there. And this is the scary thing about MaxPax. He's so good at bullying Terrans on the other side of the map, and then just running away with it economically. So we've got a 4th base going up for the Protoss. Kier isn't even really thinking of a 3rd base right now. MaxPax blinks on in with the Stalkers. Tanks do get some good shots off, so it does cost the Protoss a few Stalkers, but Kier is just in such trouble because he doesn't have a 3rd building. MaxPax is keeping him on his side of the map, and MaxPax is going to know as soon as Kier moves out, and Kier just hasn't even been able to build up that much bulk of a Terran force. He's just lost too many SCVs, too many units, that I think MaxPax is just going to swallow up Kier once he tries to move on out. The Terran does throw up a 3rd base, but it is not a good feeling to be starting your 3rd when the Protoss is about to finish up their 4th. MaxPax is on 65 probes. Give it a minute, he'll be on at least 80, I'd say, as he'll just feel confident enough to probably pump those out. The Terran is going for a double Medivac drop. I do like that. The Prism is to the north, though, and may intercept this. And Kira's just hoping for a nice little victory right now with a drop or something like this. He's unloading these Marines. He may actually find the Prism. That would be a good win for the Terran. These guys are kind of facing each other off, but MaxPax is the first to react, and he actually pulls that Prism to safety. That's the thing. These guys are playing at such a high speed and level that, they're so busy all the time with their macro, with their production and everything, that they do tend to miss little moments like that. We're the observer. We have the eye in the sky that we know everything that's going on. And yeah, it is not that easy to do when you're playing, so Kira unfortunately does miss that little thing. The Terran player is making a very, very mature decision to sit back to just get this third base up. Like, he's just getting a 9-minute third. That is incredibly late. Stalkers do come on in. They kill off one SCV that was building that wall. Kira is just going to build up his army, though. Get out siege tanks, Vikings, hold the line, build a turret. I love the turret to get his third base online. All the while, MaxPax is trying to poke him. We've got some bio. stimming to the natural to clean up those zealots. Vikings are going to chase the prism down. MaxPax is going to try and break the front while this is going on. It's quite a nice concave for the Terran. There's Widowmine's tanks at the back, but it's still just maybe too much Protoss. SCVs have to get pulled, but there's not even any SCVs at the third base to really pull because Kier was just getting it established. MaxPax, I think, has absolutely won this game number 1. I mean, we can say that Kier can try and fight it out and hope for a miracle, but he's down on supply. He doesn't have the production, the economy, and MaxPax he's just living on easy street right now, going up to 5 bases, bullying the Terran off his third. Kier is going to stim forward, hope for a good fight. Vikings will target down one of the Colossus, and Kier will continue to stim forward. He's going to need a miracle to win this game, but he is going to get that extra Colossus. MaxPax has a lot more Zealots coming on in, though. The Bio has to start kiting. That is not a comfortable position for the Terran, and despite that good engagement and perhaps the slight overextension by MaxPax, Kier is just going to have to tap on out of game number 1. And MaxPax shows us that he is a dominant Protoss player to take the lead. We will go ahead and load on into game number 2 now. That is going to be MaxPax versus Kier. I'm certainly looking forward to this one. Okay, so we'll see whether Kier can maybe pull a fast one on his opponent. We're on Gresvin, the AI edition, for game number 2. I'm honestly not surprised to see MaxPax beat Kier in PvT. Like, MaxPax is just so darn good. He's one of the best players in the world, whereas I'm not sure you'd necessarily say that about Kier. Like, Kier he's one of the best players in the world, but he's not, like, up there in peak form right now, I'd say. There is a lot of ambiguity in the scene right now. We're waiting on the announcement of the Esports World Cup. We are very lucky to have so many weekly tournaments, though, that a lot of these good players do still cut their teeth on. Like, we have MaxPax. Kier, I think, does play in some of them, but maybe not as many, where he doesn't quite have the results he'd hope for. The Terran is potentially going to be going for a bit of a cheeky proxy or an eBay block to block MaxPax's natural. I really like this decision from the Terran. And based off the scout, MaxPax is going to be caught off guard by this eBay. And it's not like the eBay is going to attack him, but he's not going to realize that his natural base is blocked until he goes to plant down the natural. He throws up a cyber core, but like, Kier has already got this eBay just about done. So MaxPax may feel he has to expand towards the third base. And look at this, Kier trying to get revenge for all the Terrans that have been harassed by probes. It says, no, MaxPax, you're not expanding here. So the Protoss just has to throw up his expansion at what is usually like a 4th or a 5th base location. So definitely some momentum for Kier based off that. The Terran player hasn't canceled his eBay, but he'll do that soon enough. That'll allow him to start his own natural, but in a much more comfortable position than his opponent. And the thing about the Terran is you want to wait till it's sunk cost fallacy and that the Protoss will not cancel this Nexus. Because sometimes if you're a Terran, you'll go, hey, I blocked your natural. The Protoss will build a Nexus at the 3rd, and then you'll cancel the eBay because you see the Nexus, and then the Protoss will just cancel the Nexus and build it in their natural location, because having the Nexus in the natural is a very big comfort thing for the Protoss. So we'll see whether Kier can potentially get some damage done with this. Like, he's already got 2 Hellions on the way. I like this opening. The Protoss is going to have to try and defend this big gap between his bases. MaxPax is even losing out on a little bit of long-distance mining. His probes can't just long-distance mine at the natural since his main is saturated. The Protoss is pushing towards the Terran base. 2 Hellions do run out. Unfortunately, Kier doesn't put them on A attack, so one of those Hellions actually takes a lot of damage. Kier's just going to have to pull that back to repair it on up, as he cannot afford to lose a Hellion early on. Every unit matters at this stage in the game. We've got MaxPax now moving out with 2 more Adepts. However, this one still hasn't regenerated all its shields, and so if these Hellions do move out, they could potentially catch and kill these Adepts. We'll see. One of those Hellions takes 2 shots already, though. Kier can't micro it back because he's blocking it, so far, a primo engagement for MaxPax. He's now going to sit on top of this ramp, toss out a Shade with his Adepts. He may intercept these Hellions with the Shade. Perhaps hiding in the bushes would be great. Looks like Kier may just be heading towards the main or turn around and go towards the natural. This is the uncomfortable thing for the Protoss player. MaxPax is trying to build a pylon wall. I'm not sure he's going to have the money. The Hellions do make it in. However, he does have 3 Stalkers present. Still, he's going to lose some probes to this. Targets down the injured Hellion. So now there's only 2, which is not enough to one-shot probes. And so the damage that Kier's going to get from this is fairly minimal compared to what you'd think. And that is a big commitment. 4 Hellions for 6 probes. I think the Protoss is probably okay with that. Kier does have his natural base moving on down, but MaxPax will have control of the game in a minute once his blink is done, and then he doesn't have to worry too much about the harassment. He's got a battery at his second base. I can't really call it the natural because it's not the natural expansion, but I probably will because that's just a commentator thing. It's not a situation you encounter too often, a player expanding to their non-natural. Now we've got Marines and a Cyclone with a bunker building at the front. MaxPax is coming on in, looking to put pressure on his opponent. Kier does have a tank. No SCVs have been pulled to repair this yet. The bunker production does get paused. Another SCV has to get rallied over that. The tank will siege. But MaxPax has blink in about, like, now. It's not in about. It's now that MaxPax has got his blink done so he can do that fancy footwork he's known for. Stalkers are going to try and poke down. Kier has positioned his tank very, very well, though, to actually get a shot off, bruise up one of those Stalkers. That's quite nice. The Protoss probably has got some vision on the way in the form of a Warp Prism, which is going to allow him to go to the main base. That's super important. The Terran's building placement really, really matters in a situation like this. That's why I'd honestly love for Kier, it's just such a little thing, I'd have loved for Kier to put his factory above this Rex. It's a bit uncomfortable with the Terran trying to manage the production, but it just expands the wall and helps keep the Stalkers out of your base a little bit. We are going to have that Prism move forward. That's going to allow MaxPax to blink on in here. There is a Hallucinated Phoenix also coming on in. The Terran does have 1 tank, but the Stalkers will definitely have room to play around in this mineral line. And MaxPax, he isn't even going for the big damage with all his Stalkers. He's just going to go in with enough Stalkers to one-shot SCVs. He gets one. The second one, unfortunately, pops out of the gas. Kier is reacting to this with some Marines and a tank. MaxPax isn't doing anything else right now, as he does just have his 3rd base on the way. He's getting up a forge. As far as the position in this game goes, I'll say it's not comfortable for Kier, but it's a little bit better than the previous one. He's going to be hitting this bio timing a little bit sooner, I think, than the previous match. He's going to have Medivacs on the way, and then he can maybe poke in to MaxPax. We even have the eBay on the front next to the bunker, which I really like that decision by the Terran. Stimpack will be done now, so MaxPax will need to be real careful with those Stalkers. He's not going to be feeling safe until 50 seconds have passed when he's got charge. Stalkers may blink on in, and they do. Kier's got Stim, but he doesn't want to reveal it and doesn't want to burn a bunch of HP on his Marines just yet. Combat shield's done. MaxPax realizes those researches are not upgrading anymore, and so I think I said that backwards. Those upgrades are not researching anymore, not those researches are upgrading. I think you guys know what I meant, as those Stalkers are still bullying Kier on the front lines. The Terran has Stim, the Terran has Medivacs, yet Kier is still stuck at home, unfortunately. He's going to want to move out as soon as he can. MaxPax has the Prism set up to the south to go on in to try and get some damage. The Terran has a nice supply lead. He's been building up this big army, but MaxPax will soon enough be able to start warping in many, many charge lots. He's also going into Psystorm, which isn't something we see too often in this day and age. Kier has the Medivacs to heal up this bio to prevent as many losses as possible, as now MaxPax will be on the back foot. Kier is bringing his tanks, and this is a lot of bio for the Terran. It's going to have +1 attack. It should be hitting before Psystorm's done. There's 3 Zealots coming in, but there is a bunker for the Terran. Where is the Prism? Oh, okay, where's the Prism? The Prism's back at home for MaxPax. He's going to have a High Templar in it to drop Psystorm. How many High Templar does he have? The answer is just 1, so it's going to be the 1 storm to rule them all. The tanks are getting sieged on up, and it is going to have to be a very good storm. All of a sudden, that base being in the wrong location comes back to bite MaxPax, as he's not mining it as natural. Widow Mines and Marauders in the bunker defends the natural of Kier. And he may actually just be able to slow siege this down, although I'm not sure MaxPax is going to give him the opportunity. He's going to try and land one big Psystorm. He's moving in with the Zealots. Guardian Shield is popped. Look at that, a Fultz round. So much of Kier's bio is getting stormed into oblivion. He's going to just go and unload at that Nexus, forcing the Protoss army to go the long way around. That's going to buy Kier a little bit of time, but he just took such big losses. Can he get out of there with these medivacs? He's frantically pressing B, probably waiting for boost to come off cooldown, but now the Terran is on the defensive. Kier does have this bunker. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way, which is oh so important, but MaxPax may be looking to counter swing. He's got a ton of Zealots. He's going to have a Psystorm as well, which is going to be huge as far as preventing SCVs from repairing that bunker, but honestly, the game may not get to this point anyway. Big Widowmine connections go off for Kier. He's got such little bio supply right now. He's going to need to pull to repair that bunker, but there's the Psystorm. High Templar fully loaded inside that medivac, gonna get unloaded, and do we see the storm get dropped, hitting the mineral line? Kier's fighting with so few units. Vikings do come on in to try and shoot down that prism, but Kier's just dead. There is no way he's gonna come back in this game. And while Kier had a glimmer of opportunity in this match, it was simply not his game. The Psystorm for MaxPax connected. This player has such a good understanding of the matchup because of all the practice he gets, because of how often he plays, and he is just a PvT master. I think he could beat pretty much any Terran in the world right now because he does beat Clem. I don't think Maru's probably practicing that much, so I think MaxPax could probably beat him. We'll see if Kier can bring it back, but MaxPax really is just such a tyrant. He is really unable to be beaten by most players in the world. I organize tournaments every 2 weeks. We tried doing an EU Cup, and I wanted to invite MaxPax, but I couldn't find someone to play him. Like, if Cyril or Clem isn't in a tournament, you can pretty much guarantee MaxPax is going to win it. Maybe Rainer, but he's off in League of Legends land at this point in the day. At this point, anyway. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I do enjoy casting on this channel, so as always, click that like button if you haven't already. If you're still watching to this point but you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that sub button. I put up videos pretty much daily. That's the goal anyway. And now I'm trying to record 3 a day, which sometimes gets a bit much, but so maybe I won't have a video every day on this channel, but I will on my main channel. And yeah, I do enjoy the fact that I can kind of just commentate based off my knowledge of the scene and the game. I'm not really going to sugarcoat it too much. I'm going to talk about just the StarCraft scene in general. Like, I know some commentators might not just say, like, hey, I think MaxPax can beat any Terran in the world like Maru, because Maru's probably not practicing that much at the minute. And I think that's probably true. And StarCraft 2 form is very, very active practice depending. Like, you can see, for example, Rogue came back into the scene with a roar, and then he maybe eased off the gas a little bit, and now he's not looking as formidable as he was a few months ago. Same thing with Joan, or Zaun as you may know him. He's a Protoss player who's incredibly darn good. Recently returned, which we're very lucky to have him back, him deciding that he wants to be a pro gamer still. And that is just great because he's been practicing a lot, putting in the work, and he's probably looking like one of the better Protoss at the minute. So, yeah, we'll just see whether Kier can do something against MaxPax here today. I feel like I'm just like, it's the end times for Kier and Terran fans right now in this series, and I'm just like, yeah, it is the end times, guys. There's no hope, but Kier definitely can bring this back. He's a very good Terran player. I really liked what he did in the previous match with the early eBay, trying to get momentum, that kind of thing. But now we do see that Reaper coming on in for Kier. He's tried various Hellion openers. Now he's going to go for 2 Reapers, which I definitely do like. 2 Reapers and a Hellion, if microed and positioned correctly for the Terran, can get you a free Adept kill in the early game. It's not that easy to pull off, and we may actually see a bit of a play by these 2 Reapers going into the main base of MaxPax. He's moving the Adept out of position, but then this kid is so good. He rethinks that decision. He goes, I haven't seen a Reaper or anything yet. He repositions the Adept. Now these Reapers are going to scoot into the main. MaxPax pulls probes because he knows he needs to shut this down as soon as possible. Another grenade gets tossed, bounces the Adept. Great placement by Kier. That's going to allow him to grab another probe kill without losing either of these Reapers. At the same time, he's being bullied on top of his ramp, but he doesn't have to worry about that. A Hellion has run into the natural as well. It's already got 1 probe kill, denying mining of MaxPax at the natural. And the Protoss has almost killed this supply depot with his unopposed Adept. But all in all, things are going pretty darn good for Kier, getting lots of damage done in the early game. That Hellion is going to go down before it gets off another shot, but that is 6 probes for 2 Reapers and a Hellion, and that is a better trade than the 4 Hellions we saw early on because it's less time on the production. Kier does need to pull some SCVs in order to save this depot. Cyclone pops out. The timing works out great for him. However, now MaxPax is coming in with 2 Stalkers, and he's going to go up the ramp. The Marines, the traitors, they allow the Cyclone to be killed off, and MaxPax is just pushing up this ramp. There's 3 Marines thanks to the Medivac support, allowing them to hold the line, but Kier, he just got betrayed so hard by his own units as he tried to pull that Cyclone back, maybe not expecting the Stalkers so early, but MaxPax went for a proxy gate, and now the Terran's in trouble. A tank is going to be out momentarily, but this wall must hold. Kier can micro the Marines. He's very good at that. He can siege the tank as well, as Blink is a long, long way away. He's not doing that just yet, but he can do it as soon as he wants to, and there he goes. And MaxPax will not be able to push up that ramp. At the same time, though, he can deny the Terran's natural. Kier's going to actually go for a counter drop while this is going on. MaxPax has such good game sense. He has a feeling that Kier's going to go for a drop. He knows that he's a greedy Terran, and now this Medivac is in trouble. MaxPax is wishing he had Blink right now. This Medivac may get on out of there, and Kier is so darn lucky to keep that alive. Blink is still a long way away for the Terran, which is rather important. There's now 2 tanks out, so that's going to allow Kier to secure up this natural, or at least it should. And then the pressure will be back on once Blink is done. But the Terran, he's going for a Banshee, which is very cool. Going to be trying to get some harassment on MaxPax. He had a real nice opener, and now we'll see if he can keep it going. Unfortunately, the Protoss does see the Banshee, but that may be enough to force MaxPax to maybe build a battery or 2 in his mineral line if he's feeling a little bit worried. All in all, though, beautiful play by Kier in this game so far. And it's just such high stakes between these guys. Like, they both have the game so refined to a point that even one little poor decision looks like, it's like, what are you doing, man? It's like, well, we're not really highlighting the million things you're doing right, unfortunately. And that's just life as a StarCraft 2 pro gamer when you've got very nitpicky casters like myself. And yeah, let's see. We have got this bunker going up for Kier. I love the bunker, the double tank at the front. How's his main looking? No tank in the main except for the one that's real close to the ramp. So Stalkers are looking for something, but look at this beautiful, beautiful wall by Kier, preventing the Stalkers from going on in. This is what I was going on about in game number 1. This is so good for the Terran, and the Stalkers are getting nothing done. Now Kier, he's just building up towards his bio, 4 Marines at a time, combat shield on the way. MaxPax is a little bit scared to go on in, and I guess it is partly just this map ley lines that if the Stalkers want to blink in here, they have to go in here, which is pretty much in the tank range. So there's no way for MaxPax to get in right now. I love what Kier's doing. He's already at 4 tanks, which is a formidable amount. See what I did there? Formidable? Oh gosh. Anyway, things are looking quite good for Kier, as MaxPax third is very, very delayed. He's had like 4-minute thirds sometimes. This is a 6-minute third. So the economy is very good for Kier compared to previous matches, and MaxPax's situation isn't looking too promising, as he's going to have to put a lot of stake into Psystorm. It came through and delivered in the previous game, but he may need even better Psystorms in this game. Kier is looking to move on out. Stalkers are going to intercept. Marines and tanks going to push him down the ramp. Stim actually on the bio going to put out as much damage as possible just to force these Stalkers away. Kier maybe expects there to be a gateway here, and he actually has scouted it earlier, pardon me. Banshee goes on into the natural, actually gets 5 probe kills. That is a good amount, and so Banshees at any time can get work done. And that pylon gets unpowered. That's quite important. We'll see if MaxPax, being the cheeky devil he is, tries to send out another probe to repower that at some point. But for now, he's just focused on this defense. Kier is moving out looking for blood. The Protoss will have Psystorm, though, and Psystorm is pretty darn good in a Prism. Psystorm hits first, then the Zealots are the second wave to clean up a Terran army. MaxPax was sending out a cheeky probe. I know this guy a little bit. He likes to do things like this. Now, the tanks aren't quite sieged up, but they are now, and that's going to make MaxPax hesitate. Kier's pre-splitting his army, anticipating the Psystorm. Maybe he saw the Prism the way it was. There's also Widow Mines, more Medivacs coming in for Kier. He doesn't have Ghost just yet, But he's got quite an army, and dodging the Psystorms is the most important part of that. He's shuffling tanks forward, looking to bait MaxPax into a bad fight. MaxPax is making no probes right now. And here, I love this, a little poke by the bio saying, hey, you're on my clock, not me on yours. MaxPax is coming from behind. There's Marines to intercept, so the tanks will stay alive. Hallucinated Archon gets dropped. That soaks quite a bit of damage. Psystorm does go down. I mean, Kier's army is pretty well split up to deal with that, although it's still 3 Psystorms, which is no small amount. Let's see, Marauders coming on in. The tank isn't quite forward enough to help shoot at that Nexus. Kier's now going to be kiting back. The tanks are rather softened up. There's enough Zealots to push forward, so the Terran will not actually get the third of MaxPax. He picks off a Stalker or two on the way out, which is good for the Terran, though. There's the reinforcements for Kier. The Stalkers of MaxPax are cornered, and I think he realizes he's in quite a bit of trouble. He's not one to just quit and give up. He recalls those few Stalkers. He's got more Psystorm. Good connection. Widowmines are going to siege on the front lines, though, and it's a simple numbers game. There's a lot more Terran than Protoss. Another good Psystorm goes off, but I'm not sure it's enough. There's Widowmines for the Terran. Medivacs putting out so much critical healing on these Marauders, keeping them alive, and MaxPax will lose the third, and with it, the game. We are not going to have a clean sweep. GG, as Kier makes us have a series on our hands. Yeah, well done by Kier. I know I sort of was saying, hyping up MaxPax, how good he is and all that, but Kier really is still a formidable Terran. That's the cool thing about him. Regardless of how active he's being, he is, like, he's still a former Kespa Terran, GSL winning, probably cigar smoking cool dude. So now we'll see whether he can tie the series up and give us a full-blown best of 5. Yeah, I never know with these series I click on. I don't like to know results of tournaments before I cast them. We're experiencing this for ourselves. I can kind of assume the result based on form, but nothing is a guarantee. Okay, MaxPax goes for a gateway and a scout once more. I really did like the Reaper Hellion opening by Kier. He kind of outplayed MaxPax a little bit with it. Not that it's easy to do, but just the mobility is very high. And MaxPax is a Protoss player who sometimes, like, there's always situations in which you can look at his Adepts and be like, should they be out that far? Like, there's 2 Hellions and a Reaper against an Adept. Like, that beats an Adept if microed correctly by the Terran. And it doesn't always happen because these players are so fast, but look at this. MaxPax comes on in with his probe saying, hey, I'm a Protoss. You gotta be on it from the start. MaxPax has a Zealot on the way. He'll probably cancel that. Throw down his Nexus, although maybe not. No, MaxPax will not cancel that Zealot. And so that means he is probably going to be looking to put early pressure on Kier. I like this decision. The Terran is an SCV scouting right now. And he actually goes into a reactor after his Marine. So MaxPax has the Zealot finish. He's probably going to send that across the map once the Cybercore is done. He'll Chrono Boost an Adept or a Stalker to put pressure on Kier. MaxPax has killed many, many Terrans by doing this. If the Terran, say, has the Zealot get a swipe or two off on a Marine, then the Adept shades in. It's just like, good night, buddy. You're done. Kier is out on the map with his Marine right now, scouting. He will have 2 more Marines starting in a moment, but he's going to have to play Ring Around the Rosie with the SCV on the command center, probably, and that's when the Zealot or the Adept comes on in behind it. And there's that first Adept shading across the map. They really are a unique unit in how fast they travel due to that shade. And now all of a sudden, Kier's going to be going, oh, you got to be kidding me. We'll see how he handles this. He's got 2 more Marines about to pop. And so I think he needs to probably pull a few SCVs down with this. Okay, there we go. 4 SCVs. He's realizing how serious this is. So he's going, okay, I know you're going to try and get a quick and dirty win against me. Marines are kiting back. SCVs are stabbing away. The Zealot will go down. SCVs get some good surface area on the Adept, and the Marines are putting out the appropriate amount of fire to bring that down. Kier is on it. Well done to the Terran player to shut that early harassment down. Now another Adept goes up the ramp, and This is good to see. Cure punishing MaxPax a little bit. MaxPax gets away with a lot of his things because players cut corners or they don't take him as seriously. But when you know you're playing MaxPax, you can, and you watch his play, you can say, okay, there's a little bit of opportunity here. I know what you're gonna do. And Cure pulling those SCVs, I can't say how huge that is. If he doesn't pull the SCVs, the Zealot, the Adept, they probably kill the Marines, and then the command center gets delayed. So critical there by the Terran player. I absolutely loved that. They got a few stabs in, which were not insignificant. They forced MaxPax to basically keep moving with those units. And yeah, really well done by Cure. He's still got a long way to go in this game. Like, MaxPax lost a Zealot and an Adept for 2 Marines. That's good for the Terran, but not game-winning or anything like that. We do have a bunker going up at the front, which I love. This isn't the best map for Stalkers for the Protoss, because if the Terran has a bunker on the high ground, it's good for him. We do have the Adept poking up that ramp. There's 2 Marines, however, the Adept is already bruised, so I'm not sure it would win that fight. More Marines are coming in for Cure. He's actually going to potentially catch that Adept. Not quite. It is a lucky Adept. Meanwhile, the Hellion, I think that must have gone down. Yeah, must have tried its luck to get some probes, but didn't. We can tell by looking at this injured probe. Cure is now going for a single Widowmine drop. I like this decision. Not a huge commitment, but it has potential to hit big to deny quite a bit of mining time, which definitely adds up. The Terran behind this is going for his racks now, but they are a little bit late. Like, it's not the quickest rush in the world. Widowmine does get burrowed. Medivac, I believe, got picked off. Look at this, Cure retargeting the Widowmine onto these probes. And it's just like, oh my god, MaxPax is like, come on, man, I want to get my guys back to mining. The Protoss, in order to clean that up, they basically have to leave the Widowmine with only 1 target, for those of you that don't know. Because a Widowmine will automatically target whatever's within range of it. But you as the Terran can actually retarget it. It's a cool thing. Blizzard, when they made StarCraft 2, they left in so many options for players to make decisions, and that's why it's such a beautiful game. So to counter that, the Protoss literally just has to sacrifice a unit, keep all the other units out of the way, and Cure got his little bit of denied mining time. Can I pull up that graph? Apparently that graph is not working, just units lost. Oh, there we are, pardon me, income. So you can see the little bit of a dip where it goes Cure's way thanks to that. And that's the thing. The higher the level of play for the players, the smaller the margins. And so you see them going for something as little as just like a 1 Widowmine drop with a little bit of harassment. Cure attempts to get some damage done with this Raven. Will lose it to simply get 1 probe. That is a great shutdown for MaxPax. That is so good for the Protoss. Cure behind this, dropping mules onto this base. Just powering up off of 2 bases. He does have his 3rd on the way, though. He's making bio. MaxPax didn't even really try his luck with the Blink Stalkers in this game. He's pushing out now because he knows the Terran will be moving out soon. But all in all, the Protoss has been sitting back for the most part in this game. A little bit on the defense. Little things like 2 pylons inside the main to scout drops and observer moving out. Another observer in the main. We see Cure's anti-stalker wall. Tanks moving out for Cure, allowing him to secure up his 3rd base. It's not just a move out to go and attack MaxPax. Cure, if he sees an opportunity, he will go for it, but it doesn't seem like he's just gung-ho to sprint across the map. As he's waiting for that 3rd to finish up, the Terran is poking out to gain map control. I'm not convinced that Cure's going to be going for a game-ending push or anything like that. And look at that. He's already pulling home. He's got to be careful with these Medivacs because MaxPax is a shark. He almost grabs one of them. We do have Zealots inside the main base as there's a vulnerable tank, 2 vulnerable Marauders. Cure's going to need to micro those to keep them alive. He does pull back the injured ones, which is good to see. Still, though, 15 SCVs go down for the Terran as MaxPax somehow gets Zealots everywhere in just a moment. Now the Terran is on the defensive. However, force fields are going to work against MaxPax as soon as Cure gets his army behind that. Now the Terran's really feeling the pressure to get some damage. We see Kier, he's accidentally floating his CC over on the map. These guys are playing so fast right now. I mean, Widowmines are in the main to try and defend against further Zealot rushes, but Kier knows he's in trouble. He's trying to push up this ramp right now, but this is not a prepared push. This is a forced push by MaxPax. The Terran is doing a great job kiting back. Reinforcements are streaming across the map. There's another tank that can potentially siege up, although it doesn't. MaxPax may have overcommitted a little bit, but now Kier's like, oh man, my third is on the other side. Okay, so the third is getting established for Kira, but it's actually got to float that way back across the map. So MaxPax has taken some great trades, forced the Terran to be on a rather rough bio army. Like, there's no ghosts or anything to support this, no tanks, no mines. And that leaves MaxPax with Colossus, Charge Lots, Stalkers, something that he's so good with. The Protoss is pushing on in with the Stalkers to still be a bully. Not a lot of Protoss can do something to this level 9 minutes into the game, but MaxPax can. The Terran is on only 46 SCVs, as Kier never really recovered from that low economy. He's still building up quite an incredible bio ball, though, so there's definitely a chance, but it's not going to be easy for him. He's going to need MaxPax to maybe make a little bit of a misstep with his army, maybe get a little bit overconfident, which he sometimes does. The Protoss, though, is looking to move out. This could be an opportunity for Kier. If MaxPax makes a gross overstep, but look at this, Zealots into the natural, that's pulling Kier's attention. He's not defending his third. In comes the Protoss. We got to watch those sentries because they can toss down force fields, and there they go. That's holding some of the bio back, allowing the Colossus to get good swipes, but there isn't that much Protoss here right now, so Kier can actually push out against this, but he's not really microing it because there's Zealots inside his main base. The Prism still wreaking havoc inside the Terran's base, and MaxPax is just playing for more and more time, in the sense that if this game goes on another minute at its current state, Kier will just be dead. He needs to get some damage done to his opponent, but he's been locked on his side of the map. MaxPax is such a menace with his Zealots. Kier is looking to push across the map, but his bio is so softened up. There's 3 Colossus out. He's moving forward. I think he may realize how much trouble he's in now as his bio just gets hit by big swipes, losing a few softened up Marauders. Vikings are coming forward, but Kier is just going to tap out. He's not even going to try. GG, as MaxPax takes the 3-1 victory just like that. Just absolute dismantling of the Terran, and that's the kind of thing, like, this guy is so repetitive, in the sense that MaxPax has really fine-tuned this harassment. He knows when to send in Zealots. Like, it's just relentless. Not repetitive, it's relentless what he does with the Prism. Like, he's always thinking of what the next move to get damage is. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched until this point in the video and you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers to get this channel rolling. If you want to see daily casts, let me know in the comments down below. You can write absolute gibberish. Tell me when your birthday is, as that helps with the YouTube algorithm. But also click that like button. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.